Welcome back, my crafty friends. Today I'm going to be making paper beads. I used to make these when I was younger. I loved making paper beads, and very inexpensive. You can pretty much make them out of anything: magazines, maps, books, newspapers, whatever you can think of. Beautiful craft paper, you can make these beads. So I'm going to show you a couple different ways to make these and how to seal them to make them look like glass. So let me pick these up. So basically you're going to need some glue, any kind of glue that you have. I am using glue that I got from Dollar Tree. It's called color glue. Dries clear, so that's okay. I have a mat down. You're going to need a heat gun. You're going to need some eyelets, and I'll show you what they are in 1 second. Okay. Eyelets. So you're going to need, where is it? I need just a round piece with the hole in it. Nope, that's not it. I don't think I have any of them with a hole straight through. But you can get the ones that have the hole straight through, which is probably what you'll need. I obviously don't have any of them. I just have these little beads. So they're leather rivets, so this isn't going to work out. So you'll need eyelets. I have a knitting needle, 8 gauge, and I have 3 of these paper rolling tools. I got these from Amazon. You're going to need paper cutter. I use ultra thick embossing powder in clear. You can also use clear nail polish, but I think it's shinier with that. And you're going to need embossing ink and any type of paper that you want. So I have a book, maps, I also have a sale ad, and I have a book with a whole bunch of different craft papers in here. Okay, so we're going to get started. Let me find a piece of paper that I want to use out of my book. I don't want it real thick, but I want to show you how you can do it with different size papers, thickness. I'm thinking I'm going to use this page. So I have 1 page of paper that I got out of a book. I'm going to take a page out of this book. Not perfectly straight, so I'm going to have to do that again. I'd like to... That's a lot better than this one. This one kind of has the junky edge. We don't want to use that, so I'll save that for later. I'm going to use 1 piece of a sale ad, which will give me different color beads, and I have a map. I love using maps. If you're a member of AAA, if you're a member, they give you the maps for free. So I used to be a motor coach operator, so I traveled all over, and I needed maps, and I got a little carried away and got almost every map they had. So I'm going to need some scissors to cut this. Now, the reason I'm making these beads is I have been working on a junk journal that I'm interested in making, and I want the beads for the side of my junk journal, so that's why I am making the beads. So I'm just going to cut down my map as best I can. You don't have to use all the paper you have either. Okay? So let me move this out of the way. Now there's different ways to cut your beads. Your paper anyway. So we're going to start with the first paper I got. And I'm going to open my paper cutter. And oops, this is falling off. Oh my goodness. Doesn't want to go in. There we go. Wait, nope. Nope, it's not the right way, I don't think. Let me see. Okay. It's definitely not moving right now, and I just got this recently because my other one had broken, but this one is not sliding properly. Oh, there we go. Okay. I finally got it in the grooves. So you can go up and down with this. Okay? So you're going to take, this has numbers on it, but I'm coming over here to these numbers because this is where my line is to cut. So I am going to take my paper, turn it around, so it's the short end of the paper, not the long end. And what I mean is this is the short end, this is the long end. So I'm going to put the tip of it on the 1, and then I'm going to slant it. Okay, so I have it on a slant, so it's at the 1 and then 3/4. So I'm going to close it, hold my paper, and cut. So here's 1. Then I'm going to turn it over, and I'm going to the 3/4 mark up here down to the half mark, which is over here, half, close it. Here's the second one. Then I'm going to turn it over, and I'm going to go to the halfway mark, which is right here, to the 1/4 mark, which is right here, and I have 3 pieces that are tapered. So I am going to continue to cut this paper the way I just did, so that you understand what I'm saying when I say it again. So we're going to go to the 1 on our cutting tool, down to the 3/4, which is right here, and cut. Whoops. Okay, that's 1. They don't have to be perfect. Then, flipping the paper over, I'm going to the 3/4 mark up here, 3/4 to half, closing it and cutting. Then, flipping it over again, going to, is it the half? Now the half, yes, the half, down to 0.25. Close it, cut it again. So that's one way to cut your paper. Now, I have another way to cut the paper. I'm going to show you on this book page. So I'm going to go long ways. I'm going to put it in here, and I'm going to go straight down. So I have it on the 1. I'm going to go straight down to the other 1, and I'm going to cut it. Doesn't all the way go through to the bottom because my paper machine is not that big, so it's straight. Then I'm going to go to the 3/4 mark. Okay. Then to the halfway mark, all the way down, straight up and down. And I'm going to add another one more at the 1/4 mark. So the paper's just getting thinner and thinner. You're having thinner and thinner strips. So I'm going to do that again. So you're going to do the 1 inch. So I'm going to use this rip side. 1 inch. 1 inch. Then 3/4 inch. 3/4 inch. Then 1/2 inch. This is so much fun to do. You can do it while you're watching TV, especially if you get all your papers cut. Such fun. I mean, I could sit there for hours. I used to do this as a kid, and when I thought of making a junk journal, I wanted some beads on the side, so I figured, hey, why not make my own beads? So that's another way to cut it, okay? And you can do the same with maps and everything else, but we're going to start to roll. Now, these that I got from Amazon have a slit in the middle. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Here's the middle. There's a slit in the middle. You could use a cotter pin. You could use just a round knitting needle. It's your preference, but I'm going to show you how I use this tool that I got from Amazon. So you put it in, you fold it over, try to make it like rounded, and you start spinning. Now you'd like them to line up as best as it can. So take your time. Now you're going to get your glue. It doesn't have to be expensive glue at all, because we're going to seal it with the embossing powder. So you want to make this as straight as possible. Okay? So here it is on your tool. Then you're going to get the second piece and match it up with the line as best you can. Put some glue here. Now I grabbed the wrong size, so I'm going to make this a smaller one. Here's the other one. I grabbed the wrong size. So I'm going to put this here, match it up as best I can, and start turning it. Then you're going to get some more glue. And here it is. I'm going to show you that again, but I'm going to show you on it. Oh, I am so sorry. I kicked that with my foot. I'm going to show you this again, but I'm going to show you on a knitting needle, and I'm going to use all 3 pieces of paper, not just the one. Now, with a knitting needle, a toothpick, whatever, you also want to make sure you have the hole in the middle as best you can, so you can put your eyelet in there, so you can string them together. You don't have to, but you can. So you're going to take your knitting needle and your piece of paper, and you're going to start rolling it. Very inexpensive to make, a lot of fun to make. This is good for kids of all ages. So now that it's rolled, I'm going to get my glue and fold it around. Then I'm going to get the next piece, line it up with that, and start rolling it. So it's having a tapered end effect, which is also a lot that you have to pay attention to, but it's very, very easy. There's no wrong way to make a bead. Then another piece, a little bit of glue, put that on here, and put some more glue on. You want to make sure your ends are glued down. Get your next piece, line it up, and roll. Just roll as best you can. And the fun thing about different color papers is you can make the color beads you like. Whoops. And whoops. Keep saying whoops, that's not good. Okay. So I want to show you the difference between these two beads because one's thicker than the other. So bear with me. I am trying to get it together. So here's the one that's bigger than this one, because you can make them any size you want. This is 2 pieces of paper, this is 3. So there's a big difference between these two beads. Okay? Now I want to make a bead that looks kind of like a Pandora bead. So I am going to take the first piece of paper, put it through the slit, and start rolling. Now you want to make sure that they're even. You want it all pretty much even. So you want it even. Sorry about that. That was my husband texting me. So you want it to stay uniform and together as you roll. And what I mean by that is, see how this tapers down? You don't want that. So when you're doing the straight effect, you just keep it straight, just like that. Then you glue it for the Pandora kind of bead. I think Pandora bracelets are gorgeous. I'm not saying I'm as good as a glass Pandora bead, but you know, I think this is neat. So you make sure your ends are down, get your next piece of paper, and start rolling. And you can do this with the tool, with a knitting needle, with a toothpick, whatever you have handy. We used to do them, I believe, with knitting needles when I was younger, and toothpicks. But the hole is really, really small when you do it with toothpicks. So you want to just line that up and wrap it around, just like that. And then you want to get the next size. So put that there. Now you can make these smaller, and I'm going to show you when I use my knitting needle that it's not going to be as long as this one. But it does have a little bit of a tapered effect, but not as much as the other one. And then the smaller one, or the smallest piece, wrap that around there. Some glue. Oh. Watch it unravel. So here's another bead. Now I'm going to make a smaller bead that looks more like the Pandora beads. So I had 4 pieces of paper here, and I'm going to use 2, I believe, these 2. So I'm going to take my knitting needle, and I am going to wrap my paper around the knitting needle. You want to try and make sure everything's lined up. And I'm going to show you a way to fix that if it's not exactly lined up the way you like. So, then I'm going to get some glue. Glue around the knitting needle, and get the next piece of paper and put it where around the end part. Try to center it and start rolling. Just like that. Just like that. Try to keep it uniform as best you can. And then you want to get some more glue and put glue on it. Now we are going to give this a couple minutes, but I want to show you the difference between the one bead and the other bead. So right now there's a lot of different in each. See the difference? Oh my goodness, I dropped the bead. I need that bead. Oh my goodness, where'd it go? Oh, sorry about that. It's on my chair and I'm trying to find my bead that I threw to the ground. Here it is. Okay, now, if you want it to look more like a Pandora bead, I have to find my hammer to show you what I do. One moment, I'm getting my hammer. I have this very, very tiny hammer I got. Okay, so this one, just say it's not completely uniform. You take your hammer, and you hammer it down. Hammer it down. You can hammer these down also. you don't like the way that it's not uniform and together. So these are a couple different beads you can make. Now I want to show you how I make them look like glass, which is so much fun if you ask me. So I have this thick embossing powder. I got it from Hobby Lobby for $9.49. I got this ink pad. I honestly don't know how much it costs. So you're going to take your bead, and I like to put my bead that I'm working with on something, anything, so that I can roll it around. So I'm going to put it on my knitting needle, just like this. Now you want to roll it on to your embossing ink pad. Now you want to make sure that it's totally covered with, I'm going to flip it over now, with the ink, because you want the entire bead covered. So I don't know if you can see that that's a little bit shiny. So then what I do is I take my bead and I put it right inside the embossing powder. Then I take my heat gun and I heat it up. I can show you the first time, but let me show you. So you don't want to do it too much because you don't want to burn it. But can you see that it's melting? So I am melting these little beads. Melting the little beads. They are melting. See the melting there? You can see it better there. So you want to make sure you get the entire bead. Now what I do is I take it again. I don't need the ink right now. You don't want to touch it with your fingers. One, it's extremely hot. Two, you can put like dents in it and you don't want that. But if that happens, just use your heat gun and it'll go away. So I roll it back in there again, tap it off, and use my heat gun. I might have waited too long, so I'm probably going to have to do it a couple more times, but I usually do it like 3 times. So I'm going to put it back in there. It's not so covered, but I am getting everything covered. Now the difference between that and this, see how shiny this is? And you can keep dipping it as much as you'd like. But this one's shiny like glass and the other one is not. So I am going to put this right here on the side while that dries. Now I'm going to take this one with the newspaper. So I have this one on here, and I'm going to roll it around on my ink, try to get all the creases where there's different items. I'm going to take, oh, that one's too big. Here, I'm going to put this one. Nope, maybe not. I'm going to put this in here. This will help it more, because the other one was making it move around. So I'm going to go over here, dip it in, tap it off, and as you can see, it's all covered. Now, when you are heating it up, sometimes it gets like a bubble, not a bubble, but a drip. Just maneuver your bead so that it will run down it and be on it. Let me show you. I don't know if I can do it again, but So see how it's making everything darker, the wording, the lettering. Now if it won't stick, if the embossing powder won't stick when you do this, just put it back in the ink. But this one's actually working. So I'm going to try it again. But you don't want to burn it, because you can burn your paper. So, I don't have a lot of coverage on here, so I am going to rub the end on my embossing ink. Rub it, rub it, rub it. Dip it in the powder. Tap it off. See how much is on here? That's great coverage. So, heat it up. Now if you touch this, mind you it's hot, so be careful. But if you touch it and you put a fingerprint on it, just heat it up again. So here's the first one we did, and it's dry, and I made sure I got the top. So I'm going to take it off, because I need to get this all covered. So I'm going to first take my ink pad and rub this all over it, just like that. I'm going to get my knitting needle, dip it in my embossing powder, and heat it up. So I'm going to let that dry, and I'm going to check out my paper one, and it has a lot to be desired on the getting it all covered with the embossing powder. So I'm going to start on this end and roll it around on the ink, just like that, very carefully. Put my paper roller in there, put it inside the powder. There you go. You're going to want that hole in there, in the top. See the hole? So we're going to give that a couple seconds, and we're going to check this one out. So, as you can see, my hands have the embossing powder on it, but as you can see, it's shining like glass. And then here's the one I did not put on it. I hope you can see the difference. This one's shiny, this one is not. Now, I don't have eyelets, which we discussed earlier, but I do have the leather rivets. So, to finish off my bead, I'm going to take 2 of the rivets, and I'm going to put it, that's too big, so we're going to have to try another one. Whoops. Get another one. It would be better if you had holes. Items with holes. That's too big also. Let's try the very, very tiny one. Hopefully this one will work. Hopefully. Fingers crossed. So here it is. Okay? Perfect. Perfection. So I'm going to take my glue and put it in the middle and around the side, and put my little leather rivet right on top. So this is going to take a couple minutes to dry. So I'm going to leave this and go back over to the paper one. And I need to do the other side right here. So I'm going to take my ink pad and roll it around on the ink pad. And you do, when you're using the heat gun, you do need it on something so that you don't burn your fingers, because it does get heated up. So I'm going to put this in there, get my heat gun, and okay, so this is the one with the embossing powder and ink, and here's the one that's not. And as you can tell, this one's shiny, this one's shiny, this one is not. Now I'm going to close these items up real quick and check out my rivets and see which one would fit. That one seems pretty good, but let me see if a smaller one would be better. Oh, that's nice. Okay, so I'm going to put some glue around the outside. You don't have to do this, because it would be better if you had an inlet, but I don't have one, so I am using the leather rivets. So this one's on there. Then I'm going to take this right here and put the other one on this side. Oh, my finger got stuck to it. So it's going to take a couple minutes. So then I'm going to grab the other one with the wording. Here's the one. And I'm going to put this on the other side. So you put your glue in. Hopefully I have a big enough hole for this. And yes, I do. Awesome sauce. So there you go. And there it is. And here's the other one. And they're shiny. I hope you can see how shiny they are. And you can continue to putting embossing powder on this. You don't have to. You can use nail polish. But these are two beads that are done. I have so many different beads, so many different shapes. It's just so much fun to play around with paper. And like I said, like here's one that I did with a map, and this has the embossing powder on it. And here's another one with the embossing powder. And here's another shape one. Then this one, I think I can show you, oops, they just jumped right out of my hand, how I did this. So let's get a piece of paper. Hold on, I'm going to show you that. I did not show you that cut. So you want thinner paper, not thinner wise on the thickness, but thinner of the strips. So let me see how big this one is. This is about 3/4 of an inch to an inch. It starts out at an inch. So I'm going to put this in half, right in half. So I have 2 out of the 1. So I'm going to take my paper rolling tool, and I'm going to show you how to do that roundish one. And you just roll it carefully, because you want it all uniformed together. for the most part. Like I said, if it's not, you don't like the way it looks, you can always use your hammer. I think I'm going to make a tutorial, but I'm not sure. But I was thinking I was going to make a rolling tool out of cotter pins and do a tutorial on it. Not exactly sure if I'm going to do that. Most likely. But to show you how to make them. Let me know in the comments if you would want to see that. So again, with the rolling, as even as it can be. I don't think this is turning out round like I want it to, so I probably need thinner paper. Okay, so this is the one that kind of looks more like the Pandora beads, just like that. So that's not the one I wanted to show you. I need thinner paper to make it so that you could see the round, how round this one is. But let me get that together here. So I need thinner strips. So I have a very thin strip here, and I am going to see if I can do this, because I literally sit watching TV and just start rolling them, and I just get so excited. And so I'm doing maybe a 1/4 inch of the strip. Okay, and making it smaller and smaller. So I'm going to take the thickest one out of all of these pieces of paper. So they're just very, very tiny papers. I'm going to take that, and I'm going to take a thinner rolling paper tool and roll it. I hope I get this right for you, because it's just old hat, and I just like to just make them. So try to keep it as even, you know, like I said, as uniform as you can. There's one piece. Some glue. Okay. Then the next piece, which would be the next smaller piece. Put some glue on here. Okay, there we go. And put this here. Okay, yes, this is the one. So you just want thinner paper. You can make them bigger, but I try to make them smaller because I want different size beads also. Okay, so there's 2 pieces of paper. Now I'm going to add the final piece. And you're going to want to put some glue on it. You can make these as thick as you'd like by just continually adding more and more paper. I think this is so relaxing and so much fun to do. So here it is. Let me see if I can find the other one. Here's another one. I have it longer paper here. So it's just the size of your paper that makes it thicker or thinner. So I have thicker paper and then thinner paper to make the beads. So thanks so much for watching. If you're interested in me making anything, please let me know and I will work it out. I'm going to be working on a junk journal, which is why I started back on these beads. But I appreciate you stopping by and watching my video. I hope you'll come back again. And have a blessed day. Bye.